digital marketing fundamentals. So I'm glad that we started with the sales process, we moved into value proposition and exec summary, which was part of the proposals. Then we touched a little bit of capture, then we moved more on bid governance, and then team selection and capability assessment. And now we are back into marketing, which is fundamental. In before we get the sales, we need to have leads, and the marketing is what we get the leads from. Then that gets dropped into pipeline, and then we move from there. So that's part of where we are at the moment. So today we will be covering digital marketing fundamentals, and then Thursday we will see how we could plan the game, and you could start to see how you could apply for your whole organization and take it from there. Because it's good, bids come fall on our lap and we just do bids. But if we need to create the bid shape or build that lead, how are we going to do that? Both for business to business, which is going to be like tenders driven, or even business to consumer. If you are a freelancer or if you work with a key stakeholder, how can we build that awareness so that they could buy from us? So that's the plan. And these are teasers for our masterclass that will be coming, where we'll be delving deep 2.5 hours. It's going to drain you and me, but that's the whole point of this. You know, we put a jump start, give some tools, then we go massive from June, July, August. You know, go massive on different parts of the thing, so that you have all the tools, templates, and even we can certify to go from there. And so that's the whole intention. So we touched the sales cycle, as you can clearly see, prospecting. But the very first point of prospecting meant you need to have prospect in place. So today we are going to cover why we need a prospect and what is marketing, and we're going to go from there. So I'm not going to dwell too much on the theory. On the first, at least for the first 35-40 minutes, it will be slightly interactive every now and then I stop. So in that way, we could engage as we go on. So marketing, whether you worked or not, you know, whether you might be on the receiving end every day, you are receiving emails, you are receiving, you know, it could be YouTube, or it could be anything, use Facebook or anything, you know, emails, whatever. Even if you're not doing marketing, you are receiving marketing. So what they are doing, part of the marketing, especially digital marketing. In old days, yes, we had radios. Yes, we have printed materials on magazines and newspapers and stuff. In digital, because most of our work place is moved online, especially now with COVID. So you would see the transition is even more stronger on marketing. So on how they kind of get it, especially now when people are in crisis, the marketing is even more interesting, and people need to add even more value to build the trust. And let's build some fundamental principles around that. So first one is, as digital marketing as a principle, it's a definition which is the act of promoting and selling products and services by leveraging online marketing tactics. And some of the things that we'll touch will be social media, search marketing, and email marketing, and content marketing, which we'll go deeper today to a certain extent. So digital marketing is the same thing, similar to marketing, or exactly same as marketing. Only thing is you are doing the action in the online domain. So because that's where your best prospects and customers are today. So if you're not picking up anything today, this is the one rule that I always say people. Rule one in marketing is to make the right offer at the right time and in the right place. So just for fun, I will also be engaging with you in the way that why you are here as well, because you know you might have received some communications from me, either through LinkedIn or through email or some other way that you are here listening to me. So you know that's the messaging part. So you are here as my prospect, as my customer listening to this, right? So we'll also dwell what sort of psychology, what sort of underpin that emotion, that decision making as well. So you could get to do the same. Today morning, I attended a couple of webinars myself, listening to someone else. It's the same thing that I am going through as we speak. So as more purchases become online, the presence of online marketing or digital marketing become even more important, because we all have to go through the cycle of know me, trust me, know me, like me, trust me, and then buy me. So how quickly can we transition people in this journey of know me? Okay, this is me. This is what I stand for. This is why you may need to consider me. You know me, like me. Okay, there is something that he's sharing which is making some pointers in what I want to achieve. Then gradually, okay, you know what? I might need to. I'm trusting him. He looks like a reasonable guy. She looks like a reasonable guy. This company looks like a reasonable company to work with. Then they buy from you. It's a transition, and it won't happen immediately. It takes time. For some people, it might happen in a day. Some it takes months, but this is the cycle that we are going to go through. So the how part, the different ways of doing it. Again, you know what? Step back as you always do, reflect on it. Before your tender lands on your table, what might have converted that tender to land on your table? Because before the tender lands on your table, somebody needs to be aware of you as a company. Somebody needs to be aware of you as a person. So it's always important to ask your salespeople, if you do have salespeople, or if you are leading it yourself, to just check, hey, how do you come to be aware of us? How do you know us? Then you will see the answer is, hey, we might have checked content. We received some of the articles that you wrote. We go to a website, or we looked at your social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or you know what, we went and searched you, and in Google or in Bing, Microsoft, or anywhere else, Instagram, here and there, we searched it and we found you there, or we found your ad. We looked at your ad, we clicked, and then it took me here. Or simply, you know what, I found your interesting article and I am part of your email list and I'm starting to get it. So you might have got a feel for this. So maybe I will open very quickly, and whoever is attending now, maybe unmute and then tell me, what forum did you find me before you find me here in this workshop?
I found you on LinkedIn.
Ah, thanks, Chris. That's great.
Yeah, same here, Bhaskar. I too saw you posting on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Perfect. Anna?
Yeah. So same here. It was LinkedIn, and I guess it was in a thread of comments between many people who were like recommending what they would do during this lockdown period, like to improve their knowledge and basically what they're doing.
That's
yeah. So it was LinkedIn. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think, thank you so much, three of you. So, and for people who are going to come back at 4 o'clock, sorry, it was a calendar mess up. Yes, I'm glad that it's reaching. So what happened is, both both Chris and Pawan found me through LinkedIn directly through my post, whereas Anna found me on a little bit more trusted source where somebody else, most probably it's Joe Berridge, I think, who posted it. And you know what are the sources available on furlough period? And few people commented it, and then my link was there, and then Anna came from there. What that meant is, directly awareness, they found me there, and secondly, Anna found me through a trusted source, which means, okay, you know what, if it's coming from X, it might be trustworthy. So either way, we are here listening to this. So in your own company, understand what's the touch point, because when we cover the different cycles of how people come to us, and this is where it gets even more interesting, which we will touch. So if you look, I'm not going to dwell too much on that. Like any marketing, we have 4 different things, right? One, we create awareness, and then we engage. So awareness, that's the whole point. LinkedIn, social media, content, all these things. Then we also use these channels to engage. Then in between, either they are aware of us, they will buy, they'll work from us, or they will be aware, and they'll engage. At some point, they'll convert to sale. But then you continue the same. Hey, now we are trying to do this new things. You might be interested of that. And then you convert a sale. Then you keep them engaged, aware, engage. And that process always happens, regardless whether the person is buying from you or not. It's important for you to keep sharing so that they are aware. You need to keep them aware, whether it's COVID or non-COVID. That's why you would see emails coming from me, LinkedIn posts coming from me, not just talking about content, but different things. But you know what? There were so many people do the same. The next one is, if you add value, for example, in our APMP Foundation program, we have 180 people, right? If you look at 180 people, close to every single person who have done foundation with us are at least referred to me to 3 people. And these 3 people have actually bought from us, and that's how we reach 180 people. And if you attended my podcast, which will come out in the next week or so, I would share we were planning to launch 10 workshops globally. Chicago in the States, Boston in the States, Middle East, 3 in Middle East, India too. All those places were booked, and people were booked all by the people who already have done, which means you are also making your buyers, not just your fans, as your advocates, because they believe they get the value and they go with it. It's the same that's applicable to you in your business. You put a tender in, you won the tender, then you are doing account growth with the tender. How much more revenue can I make from this customer? But before we do, am I adding enough value to the customer so that automatically happens to you? Then what that happens is, as you find, people will start to share the information, people will start to like the information, and it's exactly the same process, whether it's B2B or B2C, you will start to get it. But the most important thing is you just need to keep adding value, because reputation, as we'll touch in Thursday, personal reputation can go just in a flip second if you're not adding value and you are treating your people badly. So that's it. The whole remit for us in marketing is not just creating awareness or engagement and converting your buyers into even more advocates and also doing that. It's also about how quickly can you shorten the journey, because once you shorten the journey, get that information, you pass on to your sales team. It's like a relay race. So how can you shorten this journey so that whatever the information that your buyer wants to know, am I giving it to him? So they say you need to at least give 11 hours of content in 7 different channels to make people at least be aware of you. Let me repeat it again. You need to at least build 11 hours of content. It could be blogs, videos, webinars in 7 different channels. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, all bucketed under social media, emails, website, blogs, ads. So people won't make the decision. So they need to have at least 7 times from you before they even think, oh my God, I'm going to actually move it to the next stage. So that meant we need to work even more harder to get things done. And this is where it gets even more interesting. What that meant is, I already touched, we need to shorten the journey of the people. So your important value part of your digital marketing strategy is just to identify your customer journey, who they are, what they do, what are their pain points, etc., and then give them the content in advance so that the process is shortened. So which means, they only call you to just say, hey, you know what, I find most of the information useful, but these are the 3 or 4 questions that I need from you. And we are going to see the 7 stages of how that happens. But your entire remit, how good you are in marketing, is just to see how you can cut down those stages into as quickly as possible. Say we have 7 stages, but let's see how quickly we can shorten this yourself. So once we finish it, we can work through that for your company. So step one is awareness in marketing. Before someone can buy from you, they have to realize that you exist. That's the important point. So you need to be at least shown, hey, this is me, hello, hi, that's it. So your prospect, if now, okay, this guy is running a training program, this company runs research, this company is an IT service company. So what content are you providing that create awareness, that talks about who you are, what you do? You might say it's my brochures. You might say it's, I even have a contact us in my website, right? So all these things means awareness. So we will touch what sort of content you have to build awareness. Then now the prospect knows that you exist. The next step is to start developing relationship with your prospect. The first one is what sort of content or sources that's available in you or in your company to build that awareness. So maybe have that in mind. We will discuss that in 5 minutes. The next one is engagement. Now, what sort of content that your customer can come into your website or into a social media channel without talking to you, they can work and get that information themselves. So what that important thing means is you need to understand your prospect. You know who your prospect are, and the prospect knows who you are now, and you're starting to engage with them. So now this is where you find website traffic. For example, you will find thousands of people are visiting my website. Amazing. But then how many people are actually engaging with you? If you go to Google traffic and any other website traffic, you will understand in your own company, you know what, there are 1,000 visitors coming in, out of which 3 or 4 visitors click, others just skim through. So the next step for you in your value chain is how many people are subscribing to your newsletter, or how many people are downloading your report, or how many people are registering for your webinar, or anything that you give through. So the chances are it's going to be 3 to 10%. If you're lucky, 10%, but normally it's 3%. Out of 1,000 people, 30 people will register. So that's why your funnel, I'm not going to dwell deeper on marketing here, but the funnel part is 1,000 people visit the website, maybe 3 to 5% actually click and do some action. But most of them, if there are 1,000 people, they come in, they will come and they go, which means there is no format for you to track them. That's why it's important for you to give them enough, so at least some people can register. And for some people to register, you just need to be understanding what their pain points are so that more people can register. If you look at our website, you know, the multiple formats, if you use Baachu Rain, for example, we give a free report. So people who buy in, either they could click and register to join one of our webinars. There are 10 free webinars. They could attend the webinars. When they are registering for the webinars, the free report that pops up, so they click and buy the free report, which means we know at least some of them are details of some of these people, and then we have them. So these are the first 3 stages. What do you have to build awareness? Now, what sort of content do you have in the website or anything that you have as an initial touch point in social media channels that people can get to engage themselves? The third one is they're not just engaging, but they're actually subscribing. So let me quickly stop there and open up. If you have any questions, or you could share from your own experience looking at your company websites or anything that you know, this is how we do. Chris, Pavan, Anna, any thoughts?
Can you repeat your question, as I was taking a note?
The question was, you know what, from what you see in your company website or anything, how do you think they are building the awareness? How do you think they're engaging? And how do you think, what's the step, you know, what do you think are they subscribing to even before you get the information?
There is none. In our case, there is none.
Okay.
There is, you know, we're just building kind of, you know, I'm pushing the company to build these social networks, at least, you know, for people who want to stay in touch with the company so they can. For the time being, there is no newsletter or like anything you would find in more developed digitally businesses.
Got you. That's helpful. Okay. So hopefully this will be helping you to at least move the first step.
Yeah, exactly. To push, you know, with your arguments.
Thank you. Chris or Pavel?
The company I just came from is pretty aggressive in their digital marketing strategy, at least on LinkedIn, but not really many other platforms. They do, they engage with, they have a lot of their articles come through CV Social, which are promoted through employees that'll, you know, we'll go in and click which articles we want to share, or you can just click all and it'll share it at the peak times. But all of the articles are written by the marketing department and are, I guess, they're vetted and approved, and then they go through this CV Social platform, and then those go on LinkedIn. So you'll see different people promoting the same article or white paper or digital journal. But what I've noticed is it's really only LinkedIn, maybe sometimes Facebook, but the Facebook it'll be a link back to LinkedIn. So
got you.
I don't see it on Twitter or anything else.
Thanks, Chris. Because it looks like, you know what, it's the other way, that you have a much more robust digital marketing strategy, but look like LinkedIn is the main channel for the team. So you have all laid out, but you are using LinkedIn, and looks like you are your team, your advocates inside the team and external, they're sharing it in LinkedIn to just build it. That's very interesting. Thank you, Chris. Pavan, you?
Yeah. So Bhaskar, I mean, apologies for my ignorance. I mean, I I don't know about the digital marketing strategy of my organization, but I'm quite sure. I mean, they definitely have the presence on all the digital platforms, be it Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn.
Yes.
But then I'm not sure what the access strategy is.
That's perfect, Pavan. As I mentioned, it's about learning that early cycle, and so that you guys don't need to lift heavily on the tender process of sharing who we are, what we do, especially on the private sector, on the commercial sector, as we call it, so that these people already know they want to work with you. There is enough touch points for them, and tender asking specific questions on specific solution just becomes a tick box exercise, and then they want to work with you. So you know what? It's build the curiosity, regardless whether you know or you don't know. Company does it, is how they do it, and then see what's the touch points between marketing to sales and sales to bids. And that's what I'm trying to connect here, because marketing team tends to have a lot of budgets, and marketing team tend to spend lots on different things that they believe that they could add value as well. So I'll just stop there. Perfect. So let's move. Maybe Chinmaya. Hello. Hi.
Hey, hi, Bhaskar.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, Chinmaya. Thank you for joining. Sorry, I didn't see you over there. So as
No
you were
problem.
talking, do you have any kind of feel for how your company does the first 3 stages?
I believe that our digital marketing team, they post lots of webinars through LinkedIn.
Yes.
When it published in the LinkedIn, lots of other companies and all, they just join those webinars. Those are basically our technical experts. They arrange these webinars from our RPA team or AI ML team. They do all these webinars so that the other companies, they get to know the company and they join those webinars. In this way, they do this, as far as I know.
Perfect. That makes a lot of sense, especially if you're an IT stroke IS technology type company.
Yes, we're IT services company. Yeah.
Exactly. That's so people want to know how cool is your technology. What's happening. Are you advanced in how the market is going? That's quite brilliant.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Chinmaya. So now we are aware. People know who you are, and then people also know. Let me go back. Yeah, people know who we are. They're starting to engage with you, and you have some level of information about to them. Now, this is where segmentation happens without getting into details. If you want to get slightly deeper, you can get into, say, baachuscribble.com, and if you go to free membership, there you will see, even before registering for free membership, I will be segmenting. Are you from a small company? Are you a bid expert? Or how long is your experience? Kind of thing. What that meant is you will fall under different buckets. I will raise my hand. I won't normally use those different things. Ideally, what I should do that is any fundamental type of information should go to 1 to 3 years experience. Any advanced information should go to people with 3+ years experience. And small companies versus large companies, I might need to share different types of details. But again, while collecting that information, are you segmenting that? Segmenting it by type, by the avatar, which means it gives you even more. So that's like slightly advanced, but let's move on. So now your team is subscribed to it, and luckily 1 or 2 has actually converted. The converted is like, okay, they not only subscribed to it, they actually registered and bought something. This is again slightly into business to consumer, but in your case, the conversion is more or less, is it the same user attending multiple webinars in your own companies? If it's B2C, same user downloading a lot of response, which means they're gradually moving through the cycle. But if it's B2C, did this guy downloaded that $1 ebook, or did this person downloaded that $10 course or something? That meant it's a minimal purchase that they're investing to tell them, hey, I'm now committed. I now like what you do, but I'm committed. But in the B2B, it's more or less like, okay, you know what? Any webinar that comes up, I am there, right there in front, attending. So which means when the right time comes up, I will be engaging your company. Or even if I'm not engaging, I'll be a big influencer for your company. This is where the excitement happens, as you can clearly see. But in B2C, the excitement happens with a small transaction. And what that meant is until now, your marketing cost, we are not going into marketing metrics and stuff, but until now, you're investing a lot of cost for somebody to just, and you're assuming that he or she is actually going to buy from you. But what that meant is until now, they are part of your future profits. That's the thing. So how far can you invest your time, invest your money, invest your resources to give so much value to these people? Because in their mind, remember, they are going through this 7-11. They're going through this, 7 channels, 11 hours of content. But in your case, how much can you build up? Can you already add that sort of content up so that it's there for you, or you need to invest on that content, which meant you're actually investing on future profits. It's not going to convert now. And that's the kind of marketing principles of what's going to convert now and what's going to convert later. Then from excitement stage, you move into ascent stage. And then, as I mentioned, the advocates and promoters. So if you look from the Baachu Scribble kind of a thing, as I mentioned, we do have over the past 1.5 years, we have built some good community, and this community people encourage us. Even today morning, we have 2 people registered for practitioner, and the 2 people who registered for practitioner is because one of their boss attended one of my foundation. So he became an advocate, and through that, we became practitioner. And then these people, if I add value to them, they will go and do it. So it's just about having that marketing. Marketing builds that thing, but marketing also needs to continuously engage with the people who are going to bought the content with you, and keep on sharing the right sort of information. So very quickly. So there are 2 things that maintains. If you can work with that, yes, this customer value journey is fine. People will take their own time. They're going to do it in their own way. But there are 2 things important to these people. Number 1, yes, you have to run a campaign. A campaign is how you're going to ensure that, these are the type of people I'm going to target, and this is what the action that I want them to take. In a simple example, which we found on either LinkedIn or in Facebook, you will see click download this, which means you clearly know the call to action is to click and download, get the report, or click register, do this webinar, or click join this course. And you are targeting a specific segment. So that is your campaign. The campaign is, it's pretty much you're filling up the funnel as we speak, and we are going to go from there. Okay, so Pavan is off. So primarily in your company, also think about what sort of campaigns they do, and when. Sometimes it will be seasonal campaigns. Sometimes it will be specific on your product launches. Again, take your time to understand what sort of campaigns does your company do, and what is the purpose of those campaigns? Are they going to build awareness of of your company, or are they building early adopters to some of your projects that you're doing? What's the purpose of your campaign? I'm not going to ask multiple questions on that, but simply imagine that one campaign is only going to serve one type of need. Your one campaign is not going to help everything. Your one campaign, more or less, is going to say, okay, I'm going to do this webinar campaign. We're going to see multitude of webinars. The whole purpose of that webinar series is a campaign is just to take people who are not aware of you, give them enough value so that they're moving from what we call I don't know to I like, and then I trust. You're just shifting from them. Then you run another campaign converting these people from I like and trust, and you're moving to buy. So in marketing terms, which you'll trust, you're moving away from cold into warm, and to warm to hot. So see how your company runs the campaign and what stages of the campaign do they do. Like for many people, a lot of the free stuff or little value stuff is being done to convert cold to warm, and some of the paid stuff is being done to keep warm to hot. So let's move on. So we already touched this. There are 3 levels of how it works. One is you build awareness. And the second one is you are giving the choice to your buyer to just say, hey, you know what? Pick and choose. How would you like to engage with us? These are different types of content. Pick and choose. And your format of the content should more or less going to entertain them. educate them to a certain extent, inspire them. Because people want to know what you stand for. Especially now, it's much more important in this new COVID, new normal environment. So you cannot ask people to just say, hey, you know what, we are great, we are doing this by what we're doing. So you need to inspire them that you're standing for something, you are adding value to them, and you are going to handhold them in this whole journey together. That's what most companies have to do, because even with large projects, small projects, the theme of the thing is, we are with you, we are in this together. You'll see lots of stuff coming along is exactly something. So again, look at the content of what your company is producing, part of this overall process, and understand what sort of content are they producing. Is your content actually creates awareness, or is your content actually helps people to evaluate, you know what, I have attended all these things, but this is the one that I'm going to attend. I've reviewed it. So you are actually helping your end user to evaluate the options in the market, and they are coming to you. And the third one is, you know what, now I've evaluated, I'm ready to purchase. So there are lots of content that we talked about in multiple formats, but again, segmented to understand, hey, look at your marketing team, what sort of content are they creating? So let's move from there. Ideally, I will ask a question around it, but I'll just stop there. Again, maybe I'll ask you here, if you specifically look at content marketing without getting into details, you know, there are so many contents that we do: blog posts, social media updates, some infographics, photos, you know, books, ebooks, audio, video, podcast, a simple microsite, newsletters, and even create webinars and reports. So maybe you could come out of mute now and then tell me what sort of contents that your team normally produce, and does it stick in here? If it's not, is there anything else that your company do? Just a quick share.
We did infographics, and I'm not sure if the white papers, and there were digital magazines and also hard copy magazines that mimicked that, but the digital magazine went out quarterly.
Right.
And podcasts, not that they generated them, but we would join other leaders in the industry, and so those would be advertised on LinkedIn to listen to. Those are some of them.
Thank you, Chris. I think it looks like yours is much more technical, and you're right. You know, infographics simplifying the thing, technical articles, technical white papers, 100%. It just gives the authority to your audience that say, hey, you know what, I know what I'm talking about, and these are my thought leadership. That's brilliant. And you know, ebooks, magazines, pulling it all together. Another thing, podcast, it's also a good one. If you're not belonging to, at least sharing this might be of interest to you is great. And I'm sure they do blogs and other things as well. That's great. So Anna, anything? I know.
What do you think about blogs now? Because I was consulting someone, and I was told that probably kind of, you know, blogs is not what people read anymore, you know, especially like business blogs. Have you come across this kind of information?
There are two things, Anna. One is people read it or not. Believe me, blogs, especially if people search information, right? When they search the information, yes, if you search in Facebook or YouTube, you get videos. Unfortunately, if they still search for information, and if you have lots of content, articles, yes, people might not be reading, but that might be the entry point for your whole website, for your whole service, for your whole solution. So you might need to slightly think about that. Yes, you know what, they might not read it. Again, that might be a generic term, but in my case, you know, not everybody gets the message in the same way. Some prefers in bites, in slides. Some prefers in white papers, as we talked about. Some read the articles, some are visual. But think it up like it's a kind of a visiting card when you're not around, you know. So having a blog definitely helps, especially with the SEOs and others, you know, because that could be your first one. If you go and check, you know, your quickest way, the other one is go to Google and then put one or two keywords, and then it automatically tells you what people have searched for. and just build content around those issues are there, or look at your competitors, what sort of content they have done, and maybe see you can provide something similar, but to change the subject title and other things. But it's important to have some formats of this. Even you could see some of the content that we have has been shared in SlideShare, in LinkedIn. There's lots of images, because people want to do it. But start with blogs. That's the best thing. Again, there are so many places where 100% whatever you want to write, somebody has written elsewhere. But their audience is only seeing that, your audience is not seeing that. So take that content, repurpose that content, and then share that with your own community.
I see.
Brilliant. So that's it. Jinya, quickly, anything from you?
I think we've lost our other participants.
I think more I speak, more we are losing them, because
maybe they have calls or something, you never know.
Because it's like 9 o'clock for them in the evening.
Yeah.
Indian colleagues. So that's it. So let's quickly move on. Again, we touched Chris here. We have multiple formats. Yes, LinkedIn for B2B is a major thing, but in addition to that, there are other things that comes up. Again, what sort of content are we posting is critical. Second one is, where are we posting that content? Are we posting in the website? Are we posting in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn? I suggest pick up one primary medium, and in your case, LinkedIn, if it's LinkedIn, and then pick up 2 secondary mediums, which is like, in addition to one, also post in 2 other forums. So if unfortunately you need to have YouTube, then you need to make a video. And secondly, if you're not having YouTube, at least put the same article in website, connect it to Twitter and connect it to Facebook or something like that, so that you at least used 3 or 4 different things. It will happen organically. There are so many marketing agencies that could help you to boost your followers, boost your posts and stuff. But for now, let's keep it simple. Pick up one that's best for you, stick to that one. And while you're posting it, you can also add 1 or 2 other things. Again, there are multiple tools, social media tools, without getting into details, that can post at the same time to all the social media channels. You can get it up from $10. Buffer, Sprout Social. There are so many other things that simply you just put the same content in. Even if it's not your content, you could get newsletters and so many news feeds from so many sources that your audience might be interested in. Add it to those social media channels, set it up 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock, click, offer, go. So what that meant is there is continuous feed that coming out of your channels as little as $10, and you could get up to 7 channels posted in. Even if you don't have your content, you could share somebody's content, and then it starts to build that momentum. Okay, looks like this new sources. That's how we were doing in 2015-16. We were collecting sources from 30 different news sources in our market, and that became our own newsletter, which means we are not writing anything. We're just consolidating what's available in the public domain, consolidated that as a Friday news bites. We were sharing it, and within 2 years, we built up close to 700 people. Organically, we didn't have any ads or anything, because they thought rather than me scanning it, we will get it from this one source. Then we stopped doing that. Then we started to post our content because we built that authority. So initially, see what other news sources that might be interested to you, and you can also start to share from that. That will be an easy win. So traffic-wise, number 1, number 2, number 3, you have free traffic where people come to you. They will search and they come to you ideally. But if they don't know, it's going to be challenging. Then you have organic traffic, which means you don't know from where they are going to come, but they are there and they are going to come when there is a need. So I'm going to do the certification program by end of the month. There is a discount. So let me go and do that, and I'm going to search. I'm going to find you to do it. Free traffic is people just come in on the way, and because your website was there right in front, or your YouTube channel just popped up in their feed and they're just watching it. Paid traffic, again, it's an interesting one, which is like you are inviting, you segment people, you know their value chain, you know who you want to target, and you segment with them. So there are 2 different things between organic and paid traffic. Paid traffic is like a rain. You never know. You are at the mercy of the nature. It happens, it happens. Whereas organic traffic is like a rain, whereas paid traffic, you have control. You can switch on, switch off, but that comes with money. As I mentioned, the more people you put at the early stages of your funnel, the more people you will get outside the funnel. 1,000 people get 30, 5,000 people get, I don't know, 150. So, but what can you do to improve for the people so that it's not 1,000 get 30, maybe 1,000 get 100, 10% conversion. What that meant, your content needs to be strong. You need to really know what your people want, and you just keep that going. So at every level, then you start to fine tune. But if you want to go for the ads, there are enough forums that you can go for the ads and you can talk about it. And we already touched what you mean by cold traffic. Cold traffic is people, they don't know you. So you are just building up content. You are just building some of the campaign to build people who don't know who you are and make them aware of who you are. It's cold to warm. Then you build people from warm to hot. Hot is like, you know what, whatever I'm going to do, whatever my company is going to, it's going to become, this people will be buying. You can clearly see the likes of Tesla, Apple, and others. They have enough fans. Even before they launch a project, there will be enough people who will be waiting to buy for them. So that's how they structure the whole thing. So this is kind of high-level principles of what I want to cover today. And the branding wise, we will cover personal branding because it also improves. That's why I just want to touch LinkedIn conversation at the very last part. And we are also even starting live LinkedIn profile roasting. So what that meant is you could put your profile and we can discuss it in a group, small group, and we can improve our LinkedIn profile. That comes with its own personal branding. But next week, we'll be delving on personal, on the company branding, running a game plan, how we can bring all these things together and launch a campaign. But what you will also get, let me stop this share and I will share something else. So which means you will also get this one part of this. So what it meant is I didn't get too much in, I didn't dwell too much on this. Now I'm sharing a slide deck. This is kind of little bit theory, the theory on a quick 30 slide. What's a digital marketing thing? What's a digital marketing strategy? And what is an SEO? How do you do an SEO? What's a content marketing? And it just gives you multiple forms: content strategy, paid online, social media, and some of the tips and techniques behind it. So you could have this part of the recording, and also I'll also share the other one as a cheat sheet so that you have multiple pointers that you could start to apply for marketing. But understand this journey, because if you're working for a small company, sales, marketing, business development, bidding, all will fall in your lap. So at some point, having an understanding of all three things mean that you can help one function to the other function, or be curious to learn what other functions are doing, so that in this new COVID crisis, if things doesn't work out in your own function, you can move on to help the other function if that function works. Or building this wider knowledge is going to help you to do your job even more better, so you become even more bigger asset